Hi, everyone, and welcome to Put Me On, where it's everything college and corporate. We have with us a special guest today, and we're going to be discussing career pathways in the Army. And Tairrque is going to be sharing his story of how he's, gone through college and found a career in the Army. Tairrque, do you mind introducing yourself to the audience?
Yes, so my name is Tairrque Baker. I am from Lynette, Alabama. Graduated from Troy University. I joined the military when I was 17. Enlisted, went to college and earned commission through ROTC. So now the official name of the position is a Army Signal Officer, but in civilian terms, it would be a technical PM. So that's the kind of the translation I'll be speaking on it from. So that way everybody has a complete understanding and is able to relate uh, to some of the work that I do.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and it's actually very fun because we are both Troy University alums. I remember seeing you on campus, because like the ROTC would like practice on the quad.
Yeah.
And so that was like my memory of seeing you on the quad. But like it's so amazing to see all that you have done for yourself so far since living Troy. And I've seen like you share a lot about certifications, share a lot about your progress, even going back to grad school. Very exciting. But I'm just curious, since you've graduated, what would you describe your typical day as a technical PM or an Army signal officer? What would like your typical day be like? And I
Yes.
don't know if you can speak from the perspective of how that would be different from like what a regular civilian
Uh,
does,
yeah,
if you're able to share.
I got you. So my work is a lot more structured than someone that would be a civilian technical project manager. So I know project managers on the civilian side that do not even have to go into office. Unfortunately, that's not the case for me. So I'm up every single morning. Like I live in Hawaii right now, and it's 6 a.m. It's like six
Wow.
20. So I'm up every single one around this time, either working out or studying for something, or I'm on a call or a meeting or something like that. I'll go to work. I have like a 30-minute commute to work. The first
Wow.
thing I usually do is check my email, outline the things that I have to do for the day. And then I have meetings with engineers, meetings with my team. We're either working on a project that's coming up, conducting maintenance on our equipment, things of that nature. But that's pretty much what my day would consist of. Either it's meetings, making sure our equipment is up to date as far as like cyber security is concerned, encryption devices and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what my day consists of.
Interesting. Definitely sounds like a busy day. Like you said, some civilian PMs don't have to go in the office, but that's very interesting. So, with all that you do in terms of like checking the equipment, like what are some skills that you would say college prepared you to like some skills you got in college and maybe some skills you picked up along the way that help you succeed at work now?
Yes. So I've kind of naturally always been in leadership positions. Um, so even when I was in high school, I was like the high school class president. I was the fraternity of my president. I mean, I was the president of my fraternity in
Yeah.
college, along with a multitude of things, SGA in college and stuff like that, as well as throughout the Army. So I think the Army prepared me to be in leadership. As far as technology is concerned, I was not a STEM uh, major in undergrad. So please don't feel like you have to be. Most people that work in tech in the civilian sector, some don't have degrees at all. It's more so experience and certification based. But whenever I transitioned to the Army, to as an officer, I chose to make that my job. So it's
Yes.
definitely learning curve every single day. So I just think skills would be having soft skills because you will talk to people all the time, all day. Um, as far as technical skills, you just have to have an open mind and be willing to continue to learn. So technology isn't something that's stagnant. is forever
Yeah.
changing with AI and quantum computing and things of that nature. So I would say two of the biggest skills would be soft skills and just a willingness to learn and be open minded. That's every single day.
Absolutely. Oh my God, that's so good. So you were talking about how like you went from being like a non-STEM major to like pursuing this career in the army. So what is like some of the support that you've gotten towards like growing in this like uncharted territory? Like in terms of like what opportunities as the army provided for you to grow in this role?
Yes. So, when I was at my initial training in Georgia, right after I graduated college, it's called BOLIC, basic officer leadership course. I
Okay.
was completely new to the world of tech in that sense of me being hands on. Um, so I got my first certification was there. It's called Security Plus. It's a baseline certification. I studied for at least 2 or 3 months for it. So that was the confidence builder for me,
Yeah.
knowing that I really wanted to do this and this would be something that I would want to pursue. So that certification I actually paid for by myself. Because I was like, if I pay for it, I have to pass it. Like I have no other choice. If the army pays for it,
Yeah.
I kind of would be a little bit more relaxed with it. So I actually paid for that certification, got it myself. I got to Hawaii, and I immediately wanted to start on my master's. And I was juggling computer science or cybersecurity. I actually started on a computer science master's and ended up switching to cybersecurity because it's more focused around what I do every day on my job, and I knew that it would help me. But the army has really, really been there for me as far as like my education is concerned. They paid for my entire undergrad bachelor's degree, and they're also paying
Yeah.
for my master's degree. So I haven't paid for anything out of pocket. So anybody that's looking to join the military, I think the a master's is as high as they will go. They
Okay.
won't pay for a PhD unless you use your GI Bill. And most people would know what that is, but we'll see if I get to that. I'm considering.
Interesting. So you said a GI Bill?
Yes.
Is that what that term
Yeah,
is?
so a GI Bill, don't quote me on this, but it's you get in the military if you have served, I think at least 7 to 10 years. It's somewhere in that time frame. So if you serve
Okay.
from 7 to 10 years, you will get all your school paid for, like a degree paid for. They pay for like your housing and stuff like that as well, and you get a stipend. So that could either go to your spouse, your kids, or you
Okay.
could use it. So I don't know. I think I'm done after this, so it'll go to my spouse or my children whenever that day comes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for expanding on that because I was like, yeah, never heard of that. But now whoever's watching will definitely know to look out for that. So I know you just covered like the GI Bill, but are there like programs in the army that someone interested in pursuing like some technical career, IT career should like be aware of that they can start, well, they can, look forward to taking advantage of if they do decide to join.
Yeah. So the Army has tuition assistance, which pays for your tuition, and they have credentialing assistance, which pays for certifications. So you don't have to have a technical role in the Army to take advantage of those technical certifications. It's
Yeah.
just a little bit easier if you do. So those you will want to find jobs that centered around cyber, signal, and intel. They have some technical positions. So you usually get a certain amount per fiscal year. So the way it works, you go into the system, you just you put in the quote of what certification you want to pay for, and then it'll probably take like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then they fund the certification, and then you take the certification, and if you just have to show them proof that you passed it. So that's
Mm.
pretty much how that system works. Um, but credentialing assistance pays for certification, tuition assistance pays for tuition, and you get a certain amount per fiscal year that you can use for that entire year to pay for your certifications and your tuition.
Absolutely. So, and I'm just curious, in terms of like salary compensation, how does that work for like the army compared to like civilian? Because like you just mentioned you're in Hawaii, so you went
Mhm.
from Alabama all the way to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Um, how is that journey in terms of like relocation assistance, all of that? What is the package like if you're able to speak to it?
Yeah. So I was enlisted before. So I joined when I was 17, and then I switched and went officer and got my degree after I commissioned from college in 2023. Oh my God, it seems so long ago. Um, but the Army definitely pays you based on your rank and where you're at. So Hawaii may be one of the most expensive duty stations that you could possibly go to. So I do get a stipend for my house for as far as like your place of living. I get paid more for groceries, and then of course I have my base salary. And that was one of the things that was really important to me upon graduating college. I didn't know how long I would want to do this, but I knew that I wanted to immediately graduate college and step into a career field where I had a higher earning potential, especially since
Mhm.
I was not a STEM graduate when I graduated with my undergrad degree. But I won't get into the specifics of the numbers, but if you are considering, it's great. It's great. It's great money,
Okay.
especially for initial college.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Thank you so much for speaking to that. And I just had one question from that. Is your comp package, can you negotiate or is it like I know you mentioned like based on your rank, you get a certain
Yeah.
amount, but like is it is there room for negotiation or is it just a standard?
It's just a standard for everybody. I mean, like we get raises, so I think we got a 4.5% raise this year. And with that raise, they also bumped the money that I get for housing. They up that like $400. So it just changes every single year depending on what the government wants to do. But it's not really room for negotiation for me. But if you're enlisted, if you join like straight out of high school, which is how that works, you do have a little bit room for negotiation. So if you were to say, "Hey, I'm near the end of my contract, I want to get out," then you have they have you'll be able to negotiate your salary, or depending on the job that you choose, if if the army really needs people, they will you will have a little bit room for negotiation. So for example, when I joined when I was 17, I was
Mhm.
infantry. That at the time that job was offering $20,000 bonuses. So it just depends on the job that you choose.
Interesting. I think I need to put a disclaimer in. This is not an ad for the army because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
these definitely sound very, very enticing.
Uh-huh.
So okay. One more question before we go into rapid fire mode. For anyone who's like maybe, out of college, for example, didn't get enlisted early like you and trying to transition from like civilian to like, this role, a technical, role in the army. Do you have any idea what that journey would look like, in terms of doing that?
Yes. So if you're like as far as like a civilian, like
Mhm.
any job civilian or a technical PM is
I would say technical PM in specific, just because that's what you're doing.
okay. Yeah. So if you have your degree, you would be able to come into the army. I would highly suggest doing what is it called? I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there are a few commissioner sources to come in as an army officer. You
Mhm.
have ROTC, which you do while you're in college, so you immediately graduate and then you commission and you go straight into the army. Whether that's full time or it's part time, you kind of get to choose depending on the scholarship that you had. And then there's another commissioner source where you go to Fort Benning, Georgia, and you train for 12 weeks. And if you pass that course, then you commission as well. But it's a lot more compact, a lot more faster paced than someone that goes to school and they get a degree. But the transition shouldn't be terrible for you. It just depends on if you're in physical shape or not. I think that's like the biggest difference between being a civilian technical PM and the army because it's just a lot more structured and you will be forced to be in shape to a certain extent. And there's a lot more rules and regulations when working with the DoD. I guess I would say that's the other um that would be another big transition piece for them. But I would say if you're thinking about it, make the move. like I said, as far as the compensation package, you will have your housing paid for. I forgot to speak on health insurance. That's a big plus for a lot as well. And there's a lot of room for career progressment and then like certifications and tuition and stuff like that.
Okay. Oh, okay. That is quite enticing. So let's do rapid fire. I'll ask you a few questions and we will wrap it up after those questions. So these will not be centered around the army, just around you. Some of them will relate to the army, but just about you as a person.
Okay.
So you mentioned staying in physical shape. So like, what is your go-to workout routine?
So Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm running tonight, by the way. I usually run like 6 miles every single morning. And then I go to the gym in the afternoon on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and it's usually upper body. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I hit legs. So that's pretty much my workout routine. I am a part of a run club here in Hawaii, so sometimes I'll go on Saturdays, depending on how busy my day is.
Definitely seeing the structure there. So question number two. What is your least favorite thing about Hawaii? I know it's a great spot. A lot of people want to go there, but what is your least favorite thing about it?
Hmm. So I would have been here for a year on January the 31st. I haven't had a bad day yet. But I will say, there's something that I dislike about Hawaii would probably be the food, not the choices of food that they have, but it's so hard to get it. So like right now, I don't know if it's because of the snowstorm or the fires or whatever is going on back on the mainland, but like I went shopping on Sunday and there was almost nothing in the stores because everything has to be shipped here.
Oh,
So it
wow.
just depends. Like it's like luck of the draw whether or not you walk in the store and like they have eggs or they have milk and stuff like that. So I guess that's probably the least favorite thing because I went back home for Christmas on the mainland and it was just so
Mhm.
much cheaper and it was a lot more availability as far as groceries are concerned. So that's probably like the biggest thing.
Okay. Oh, wow. Didn't know that. Um, the third thing would be, well, the third question would be, I don't know if you're able to speak to this, so let me know
Mhm.
if you can't. What is one of your least favorite things about, working in the army or something you're like, I wouldn't have to do this if I worked civilian. Let me know if you can't
Yeah.
answer that question.
No, that's fine. I'm a very transparent person, but I think the biggest thing would be time.
Mm.
Uh, it could be very time consuming depending on which phase you are in your training and what you have, um, and what your schedule looks like. So I have civilian counterparts that I talk to them and they're like, "Oh, I'm working from home. Are we doing the exact same thing?" They're working from home or they're either off extremely early, way earlier than I am. But I think it's just a time thing. Other than that, I mean, I've been doing this since I was 17, so I'm kind of used to it. But as I get older, I really start to value the time that I have in my day and maximizing the usefulness of that time.
Mm. That is so true. So true. Just given like the structure you just shared and how your day goes, I'm sure you have to be very intentional about your time. So thank you for taking the time to come on here. I would say the last question is you started this quite young, 17. Um, what would you say to a 17-year-old who's considering this, based on your experience?
Yeah, so I don't ever want to come across as someone that had it all figured out. I think the stars kind of just aligned perfectly for me. Because I was 17 and trying to figure out a way to pay for college. The military was that route, so I'm forever grateful for the military and being able to serve my country. But the military was the way for me to pay for school. I got to school and I didn't really know what I wanted to major in. Changed my major a couple of times, but I knew I was going to the military. So I was like, that could be a fallback option for me. And then when I got into the military back in 2023, then I actually figured, I feel like I found my passion and technology. So my advice to you is don't feel like you have to have it all figured out. You just need to start. That's like one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can offer. And that's whether you're looking to join the military or you're looking to go after a certification or after a degree or work on a project, just start. I know a lot of people can spend their entire life just planning, talking about what they want to do. But once you actually start putting yourself out there, making those mistakes, then you really learn and figure out like what your purpose is, and what you're truly interested in. So, just to answer your question in a whole, just start. It's like my biggest piece of advice for anyone.
No, that is such a good note to end on. Just starting. That's really why we're having this conversation because, we both decided to start something and now we're here talking about this. So
Yes.
I'm so excited to see how this will impact people. Once again, quick disclaimer, this is not an ad for the
Yes, for
army.
sure. For sure. Please let them know that.
But thank you so much for taking the time to come on here. I can't wait to see this out there. Thank you.
Thank you as well. I think this is a great platform to show for showing people the different um career paths they can take. And I think people need to see this kind of content as well for people, either like whether you're in college and you're looking to pivot to something else, or you're looking to go to college, or whether it's post grad too, because a lot of people, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, you still are trying to figure it out post grad as well. So thank you for all that you do. I think this is awesome and keep doing it.